колоссальный коррупционный скандал, который в Евросоюзе предпочитают замять. В понедельник в операционной комиссии, сформированной Евросоюзом по отдельному поводу, состоялось голосование о продлении лицензии на использование фермерами удобрения под названием глифосат. Глифосат – очень распространенный дефолиант, средство против сорняков. Его производит гигантская транснациональная корпорация Monsanto. Глифосат тоже хотят запретить, поскольку он практически не выводится из человеческого организма, накапливается и по робкой оценке Всемирной организации здравоохранения является возможным канцерогеном, то есть вызывает рак. Лишь в Европе Monsanto тратит на свои лоббистские проекты порядка 1,5 миллиарда евро в год. По правилам, решение могло быть принято, если за него проголосовало не менее 16 стран ЕС с суммарным населением 65% от всего населения Евросоюза. Так называемое демографическое большинство. Без Германии никакого демографического большинства не было бы. Но ведь до сих пор Германия всегда была против глифосата. И именно так должен был голосовать Шмидт. Но Шмидт проголосовал за глифосат. Что, Германия в последнюю секунду изменила свою позицию? Да нет. Просто Шмидт лично так решил. Ну, взял. Ну, теперь вся Европа будет травиться еще 5 лет.
В свои 10 Тео очень любит читать книги о рыцарях, где добро побеждает зло. Такой же битвой он для себя считал двухлетний дебат о необходимости запретить в Европе глифосат – яд для растений, который сделал и его инвалидом еще в животе матери. После появления на свет мальчик до 3 лет вообще не мог говорить. На сегодня ему сделали 52 операции, но ни здоровье, ни его голос восстановить врачи не смогли.
Не верьте всему тому, что говорят в рекламе, потому что Monsanto сделала лживый ролик, что это биопродукт, что он разлагается, что он безопасен для здоровья человека.
Monsanto в прошлом году за 66 миллиардов долларов решил купить немецкий концерн Bayer.
Их цель – контролировать всю продовольственную цепочку мира, от поля фермера до стола потребителя. Если эту сделку одобрит ЕС, то у нас появится промышленный монстр. Они будут контролировать все – семена, удобрения, пестициды, но еще и все лекарства, которые позволят лечить людей, заболевших от этой химии.
Офисы Monsanto открыты в 66 странах мира. Целый завод по производству ГМО семян построили теперь и на Украине, в Почуйках. Киевское правительство планирует еще и распродажу 10,5 миллионов гектаров земли иностранным компаниям. Это 9-я часть всех пахотных земель Европы. Не исключено, что львиная доля достанется той самой Monsanto. Она уже подобрала 10 полей для генетических испытаний на растениях. Украина занимает 3-е место в мире по экспорту кукурузы, 5-е по экспорту пшеницы. Договор об ассоциации с ЕС позволит ей в перспективе внедрить эту продукцию и на европейский рынок.
immer mehr Menschen wird der Großkonzern Monsanto zum Symbol eines agroindustriellen Systems, das die Gesundheit der Menschen und der Ökosysteme bedroht. Im Oktober 2016 riefen Persönlichkeiten aus der internationalen Zivilgesellschaft in Den Haag ein außergewöhnliches Tribunal ins Leben. Monsanto selbst hat eine Teilnahme eigener Vertreter oder Zeugen abgelehnt.
Ces photos sont celles d'un petit garçon qui s'appelle Théo, qui est mon fils. Il est né avec de multiples malformations, en particulier une atrésie de l'œsophage, qui ont au total nécessité 50 opérations. Nous avons une carrière d'équitation, c'est notre métier. Donc nous avons un grand espace de 700 mètres carrés pour monter à cheval, qui est en sable, et sur lequel chaque été, je passais un désherbant à base de glyphosate. Parce que j'avais vu une publicité qui disait que ce produit était le moins nocif et était biodégradable. Et donc je me suis dit que c'était le produit qu'il fallait utiliser, qui était le moins mauvais, on va dire.
Glyphosat ist ein sogenanntes Totalherbizid. Es wirkt unselektiv und zerstört sämtliche Pflanzen. Im Jahr 2016 wurden weltweit 800.000 Tonnen Roundup verwendet oder entsprechende Nachahmerpräparate.
La información, además, que nos brindan los medios de comunicación masivos, está totalmente manipulada justamente para que la ignorancia nos lleve a la sumisión y a ser cómplices de este modelo asesino que nos enferma constantemente.
Yo trabajaba como peón rural, llenando aviones para fumigar los campos sembrados.
¿Y qué productos utilizaban?
Usamos todo tipo de veneno. Glifosato, que era lo que más utilizaba. Estoy así por los agroquímicos. Es un genocidio silencioso, a la cual yo no quiero ser cómplice.
Fue que no siempre había habido estos problemas de salud en estas localidades. Y el cambio de enfermar y de morir de estas personas coincidía en el tiempo con la instalación en los territorios en los que están situadas estas localidades de un modelo tecnológico de producción agroindustrial de eventos transgénicos dependientes y adictos al glifosato.
Did this study show that glyphosate may cause cancer?
Yes, Monsanto's did find various types of cancers. I took Monsanto's data and put it all the various lymphoblastic lymphosarcomas in the subcutaneous tissues. They found all these different types of cancers. These cancers affected the brain, the heart, the lungs, the liver. But they concealed the information.
Sri Lanka was known as the plenary of Oriental world. We had a great tradition, and we have been cultivating rice continuously for 25 centuries. We never had such a problem among our farming communities until mid-1990s. It was initially named as chronic kidney disease of unknown cause, because usually kidney diseases are due to long-standing diabetes or hypertension. Please believe me, 24,800 people died due to this kidney disease. And the estimated number of patients in Sri Lanka is almost 69,000 according to the government statistics.
Glyphosate damages the soil, damages the plant, damages the animals, damages us. It's a broad-spectrum ecocide.
I accuse the European authorities of committing scientific fraud. This fraudulent approach made it possible for the authorities to reinforce the conclusion originally drawn by the Monsanto-led glyphosate task force, the submitters of the dossier. Distorting various facts, ignoring existing knowledge and denying available evidence has to be considered as an attempt of the authorities to allow the chemical industry to continue the marketing of a carcinogenic herbicide.
McLaren report has been unduly given a lot of credence, in my opinion. It's almost laughable how the assertions in that report are considered to be very profound and very well justified. McLaren actually refused to consider a written argument from the Russian side. He never went to Russia, never talked with Russian authorities, even though he was accusing them of state-sponsored doping. That's pretty poor. I mean, it's a fundamental principle of due process to listen to both sides of the story. One could speculate that there's a strong political bias at play here. It's evident that in Western media there's much demonization of Russia and the Russian president, and one could speculate that this is politically motivated and goes back to the situation in the Ukraine and the situation in the Middle East, where Russia has come to the support of the government in Syria that the West was trying to overthrow. In my opinion, the McLaren accusations are unfounded and they're very politically biased.
Believe that the CIA and Mossad are just joined at the hip on this operation. They've wanted regime change in the country since the 1979 revolution. I mean, almost 40 years ago, and they tried it in 2009 with the Green Revolution. The country is a population of 80 million people. Most of them want nothing to do with the protests. And a big thing about the protest, which is a tip-off for me of foreign meddling, is the fact that 21 people were lethally shot. I mean, when people protest, they don't come out in the streets with pistols and rifles and shoot people. I mean, they might do vandalism, they might do stuff like that. I think assassins were hired to do this dirty stuff. The protests may calm down, they may ebb a little bit, but below the surface, I think there's stuff still going on. The destabilization attempts will go on. Iran has a powerful military. I don't think there's any chance of a U.S. or NATO invasion. But there could be a chance of a U.S. war by terror bombing, even the possibility of a nuclear war. That really is a threat. But I think probably the plan is destabilization with picking away at Iran, trying to stimulate the population to turn against the government.
are seeing protests and an attempt at an uprising in Iran, which is classic in the way that the United States and Israel, because you can't divide the two, operate in terms of regime change. So what you do is you get the people themselves to remove your target regime and claim that it's a people's revolution, when what you have actually been doing is supporting groups and factions within the target country with information, with intelligence, with training, and with weapons to bring about that very people's revolution, which is actually just a revolution to remove the regime you don't want. I'll give you the military document that explains exactly what I've just described. The US military's unconventional warfare strategy requires the target state population perceptions are first groomed into accepting an armed insurrection using, quote, propaganda and political and psychological efforts to discredit the government, creating local and national agitation, helping organize boycott strikes and other efforts to suggest public discontent, before beginning the, quote, infiltration of foreign organizers and advisors and foreign propaganda, material, money, weapons, and equipment. And that is exactly what happened in Libya and Syria quite blatantly. The United States, Israel, and the UK have interfered in the internal affairs of other countries on a scale unmatched by any other countries on earth. And we are now supposed to believe that these same forces in the West are suddenly filled with sympathy and concern for the people of Iran. People who have suffered economically because of the sanctions imposed by the United States. The hypocrisy is stunning. The simple truth is that the United States, Israel, and throw Britain in there as well, because they're always in there, is at war with Iran. They may not be dropping bombs yet and invading the place, but they're at war by any definition of the term.
There is absolutely no political relationship between the Jewish people and Jerusalem. It's merely a holy city. The Jewish people don't have a capital. We never had a capital. Countries have capitals. States have capitals. Now, the Jewish people are not a country or region. The Jewish people are a religious community. We pray towards Jerusalem, but we relate to Jerusalem only as a holy city, not as a political capital city of the Jewish people. And because it's a holy city, it doesn't matter who has sovereignty over it. Jerusalem is just as holy and just as much Jerusalem, whether it's under the auspices of the Turks, or the Romans, or the British, or whoever. It's important to know that the Zionists were the ones that started this business of the capital of the Jewish people. I was born in America, my father was born in Poland, my mother's family's from England. We have nothing to do with Israel. We're Jews, and Israel is not my nation state in the slightest. This is a unilateral claim of the Israelis, of the Zionists, and it's an assault on my religion.
Just when you thought tensions between the North and the South Koreans were starting to smooth over, as they've recently agreed to work with one another during the Winter Olympics, leave it to the United States government to want to intervene with a small-scale war. Amid signs of a thaw in North Korea, tensions bubble up. In exactly 1 week from today, US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is going to be at a conference in Vancouver that is geared towards persuading North Korea to end its nuclear program. But before that happens, US making plans for bloody-nose military attack on North Korea to stop its nuclear weapons program. The White House has dramatically stepped up preparation for a military solution in recent months amid fears diplomacy is not working, well-placed sources said. These kinds of threats are not going to intimidate North Korea, but it's certainly going to deepen their distrust, and it may even prompt rash action if they feel they're in imminent danger. And North Korea considers its nuclear program to be vital to its survival, so they're not just going to trade it up merely for some sanctions relief. The United States government has brilliantly disguised their global regime change operations as humanitarian missions. And sometimes, if the big bad boogeyman isn't scary enough, they'll intervene in order to provide order out of chaos. They're going to push to move this diplomatic approach towards a military approach, just as Trump has hinted towards, and this has been the goal of the deep state all along, whether he realizes it or not.
Het zelfstandig ondernemen. Ik heb dus vele disciplines doorlopen en een deel daarvan was in de financiële wereld. En een van die wisselagenten, die zei op een bepaald moment, stop met al die werkzaamheden, al die bedrijven. Ga gewoon in de geldhandel, ga in de financiële wereld. Je moet één ding weten. Als jij je geweten niet in de diepvries kan zetten, en dan niet op min 18, maar op min 100, dan moet je er niet aan beginnen. Dat was de boodschap, want je wil veel geld, dat kan je krijgen, ik kan je helpen, maar er hangt wel een prijskaartje aan de andere kant. Want met een geweten kan het niet. Want je klanten waren banken, hè, die wilden hun handen ook schoon houden.
Ja.
Maar je hebt ook uiteindelijk met overheden te maken. Je hebt te maken met multinationals. Je hebt te maken met geheime diensten. Maar je hebt ook te maken met wat ze nu noemen terroristische organisaties. Je krijgt dus het hele palet van groot geld aan cliënteel. En dan zie je ook de verbindingen. Het gaat over het financieren van oorlogen, het creëren van oorlogen, het creëren van eigenlijk heel veel ellende in deze wereld. Maar ook hun hebben weer hun geldstromen. Want als hun dus in de handel van drugs zitten, of in de handel van wapens, of in de handel van, noem het maar op, mensen. Die dus zeg maar via constructies, hè, rechtsvormen, internationaal, het geld zo gaan bewegen dat het allemaal oké is. Weet je, alles wat je in de wereld wil weten, kan je weten door de geldstromen te volgen. Dat denkt iedereen van, hé, deze wereld is met plus en min en zwart en groen. Maar op een hoger niveau is het een spel. Het zijn vriendjes. Ja. Maar ze hebben zich wel te houden aan alle regels en wetten die ze zelf hebben gecreëerd om de rest van de samenleving daar te houden en dat het niet erg druk wordt in de top. Er gebeurden allemaal dingen. Ik kwam bijvoorbeeld op een andere beurs en dan zei een van de collega's daar van, Ronald, weet je nog, met die Italiaanse lieren. Waardoor dus een bedrijf in Italië daar last van kreeg op een dusdanige manier dat het bedrijf over de kop ging. En dat ze dan zeggen, weet je dat de eigenaar zelfmoord heeft gepleegd en een gezin achterlaat. En toen lachte je erom. Ha, 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 met elkaar, allemaal. Bescheten op de mensen. Het was gewoon een product. Afval. Alles was afval. De natuur, de planeet. Als we maar onze doelen haalden. Als we maar groeiden. Je komt zo diep in die kringen. Ik moet ook zeggen dat de meeste van deze mensen hadden een geloof wat afwijkt van het gemiddelde. De meeste daarvan hadden een Luciferiaans geloof. Hun diende dus iets onstoffelijks. Hun diende wat zij noemden Lucifer. En ik kwam dus ook in die kringen. Alleen ik lachte erom, want het waren voor mij gewoon klanten. Ik kwam dus in Satanskerken, maar ik kwam zeg maar op route even langs, even buurten. En daar was dan op dat moment een heilige mis. Ik hechtte weinig of geen geloof aan hun geloof. Of ik was er eigenlijk niet eens van overtuigd dat het überhaupt allemaal wel bestond. Maar er kwam een moment, toen werd ik dus uitgenodigd om mee te gaan doen aan offers in het buitenland. Dat was het breekpunt. Kinderen.
Oké.
En toen begon ik dus dingen te weigeren binnen mijn werk. Ik kon het niet meer. Je mag zeggen het kwaad, het Luciferiaans, het satanisme, hoe je het wil noemen. Het is een werkelijke entiteit die ons haat. Ja. Die haat de schepping, die haat het leven. En zal er ook alles aan doen om ons mensen te vernietigen. En hoe doe je dat? Door ze uit elkaar te houden. Verdeel en heers, dat klopt. Zolang je die maar gescheiden houdt, dan zorg je ervoor dat jouw grootste vijand, vanuit het Luciferiaans gezien, niet tot zijn volle potentie komt, niet tot zijn volle kracht komt. Niet kan gaan staan, want op het moment dat dat gebeurt, dan verdwijnt het. Dan verdwijnt die hele brulboei, dat monster, Het monster van meer, die verdwijnt.
The deep state actually begins with the major banking families, including the Vatican, which is the world's wealthiest organization, wealthier than the Rothschilds. But the Vatican plus the Rothschilds, and then all of the central banks, the City of London, and Wall Street, that's the top of the deep state. Below them come the political parties. Most countries have been organized so that there are two major political parties that block 70% of the public from actual participation in the decision-making and the governance process. And then finally, below them, you have the secret intelligence services that more recently have begun to spy on and blackmail politicians and judges and celebrities in order to protect their power and increase their budget. The deep state is very real.
There are large pedophilia rings that have been operating for really many, many years. People don't realize, and it just kind of went underground from people's consciousness, and then resurfaced, of course, last October, November, and December with the release of the John Podesta emails, and then came the Pizzagate, and then that got the ball rolling for Pedogate, which is basically the world scandal of this trafficking ring network that's been going on for many, many years on this earth, and it's carried out by the ruling elite. We're talking about the bloodline families. Probably the most visible one is the Rothschilds, but it's all of them. It's the Rockefellers. You see, it's the Bushes and the Clintons. I mean, there was that very corrupt dynasty that they had in power right through Obama.
Basically, the CIA are the main pimps of this whole global operation. They really are the culprits. And they work with the State Department, U.S. State Department, embassies all over the world. And they take kids from orphanages, they use charities, they use front organizations, and they use the Red Cross. They're all involved in this. The UN, the military intelligence is involved. America sends its troops to, at least 134 countries. Wherever you find a whole concentration of military, you'll also find a lot of trafficking. They take a lot of victims from third world countries and fly them around or put them on cargo ships and move them around. But primarily, I believe it's the governments of the West that are the perpetrators, mainly. I mean, the Clintons are in so deep, and so is Bush. I mean, it's been a dynasty, basically, in America for 40 years, basically, where we have the same people. Many of these Illuminati families are bloodlines that have been around for many, many centuries, and many of them actually go back to Kabbalism, the pre-Judaism, mysticism, the Babylonians. So a lot of those satanic rituals actually come from those ancient times. And of course, we also know that they did child sacrificing and pedophilia way back when in those many cultures back then as well. And they managed to infiltrate the Catholic Church. Many of them have been popes. They are royalty. As you're aware, in England, there is that family. And a lot of times, yes, they drink the blood, they eat the organs, they're cannibalistic. They're able to get away with all their stuff because obviously they've got the head honchos in all the different parts to this puzzle, be it the law enforcement, be it the court system, be it the education system, be it the media system, be it the child welfare system, the government, of course, the military, the CIA, the corporate industry. They're all in it. I mean, of course, they are total psychopaths, so they have no conscience whatsoever. They everything's a fake emotion. They just have to imitate emotion. They're good actors, by the way, and they lie through their teeth in every breath. Pedophilia is the Achilles heel of the ruling elite, and that's also why we're seeing all this basically stepping up of the whole North Korea, the whole situation with the Jerusalem and the Middle East. War is coming. The collapse of the economy is coming. The elite pedophiles have planned for it, and they've sped it up because the exposure of this Achilles heel, they know there's going to be a enraged public all around the world. The more people learn about this, the more we can rise up as in solidarity as one to demand accountability.
No pierdas la oportunidad de aceptar a alguien distinto. No pierdas la oportunidad de que te cambie la vida.
People on this planet, they don't know there's extraterrestrials. They don't know that there's not just one of them. Maybe we've got thousands, maybe we got billions of extraterrestrials. We now have 200 trillion galaxies out there. And to say that we're the only intelligent people in this universe is naive. Every PhD on this planet, whether they're for science or for medicine, have been given incorrect information for thousands of years about the history of this, not just this galaxy, the universe. They have been given information which was controlled by Draco, reptilian, and other extraterrestrials not to know what was really going on. There are Federation facilities out in the galaxy where other extraterrestrials get together, and there's many different missions for many different types of programs. But we'll talk about one of them, which cruises the galaxy, and it has as many as 30 different extraterrestrial civilization people on board. It looks like the moon, but it's a vehicle. When we got to the moon, we found out a lot of surprises. The Draco reptilians were already there. It's not your moon in the first place. Actually, this is not your planet. And I hate to say this, but we're just a laboratory for them. They own the planet, and we are their lab. And they're Asocius laboratories, other extraterrestrials coming in, doing their agenda.
I'm going to ask you what they all look like and all that.
They're ugly looking, lizard, alligator type people. They got the same skin as the lizards got, okay? And terrible looking faces. But then they have the ability to shift and look like a human. All of them do.
Do you think von Braun was a reptilian?
No. Your president, yes.
Oh, what? Which one? George Bush Sr.? Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
And Bill Clinton and this guy you got just got rid of. Yeah.
Yeah.
They all were. Those guys control your moon because your moon is a command center for this region of the galaxy, not just the solar system. That's small potatoes. The thing that's sitting right in here, which is you call your moon, is a massive control center for this whole part of the Milky Way galaxy. We've got documented 23 different types of extraterrestrials, most of them being good people. But then we've got these massive capability with facilities of the Draco extraterrestrial side that, you know, they're controlling. And they don't just control this planet.
You know that reptilians and Draco, you know, the blood sacrifices, the whole Luciferian thing, the kids being killed and eaten. I mean, that humans have been eaten and taken off planet, et cetera, and used for slaves in other colonies, etc.
I hate to say that, but that's far worse than what you've just said.
It's far worse.
Yes, far worse. It's unbelievable. And I don't know how we say that to the public.
You know, there's a lot of New Agers out there who want nothing but to believe that there's ETs, definitely, but they're all hearts and flowers and good guys.
Yes.
And this is such a dangerous thing to put out there, because again, you get humans that will not be able to protect themselves. And also not understand. I care about the children and I want to protect the children. How can you protect a child? You must tell them. You must tell their parents what's happening, what's really going on this planet. And it's about time we humans are able to protect ourselves.
Frankly, we need help. We need everybody involved in this. That's not a lie. We need help.
we're setting goals that are outside of ourselves, that are, things we want to change or fix. They tend to be, what can I do different?
That's a good thing to do. It is good to do those things differently. But one needs to keep in mind that it's not the doing that is really so important. And that goes on both ends. It's not only the things that you do that really aren't that important, or the things that other people do that affect you. What's really important is why you do them and how you deal with the things that come to you. That's what's really important. So rather than doing things better, it would be a nice change to think about, how could I be better? It's not just that I'm going to manipulate the world in a better way, and I'm going to make sure that I take advantage of this and don't do that, and avoid this kind of trouble and get these things. That may make your life seem a little better, but if you don't really change who you are, then you're still going to be living that same life, more or less. The circumstances may change a little, but your life and its quality won't change much.
This is the problem with resolutions, because usually once you make a resolution, you tend to need to follow it really, really closely. And then once you fall off, well, then that gives your ego an opportunity to say, oh, well, you couldn't stick to it. And that's often what happens. And we sort of lose track.
You have to really want to change at the being level. You have to really want to change at a deep level. If you really want to change those behaviors, you can. Because you'll be waiting and you'll say, well, when I get around that person, I'm not going to be annoyed. I'm just going to let it go. And you feel yourself getting annoyed and you just don't do it. Don't go there. If you just work it from the intellect, well, okay, you'll be more polite than you would have been otherwise. But that's not the point. The point is you have to want to change it. You have to say, I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to be that way. But it's not easy and it's not quick. But if you really want to do it, if you really have an intention, if your intent is to do it, and that's a strong intent that you keep with you, and it's an honest, being level intent, you will succeed. Your intent changes reality. That's why we start with being authentic and finding out who we are. Why do we do the things we do? What are our fears? You have a fear that you're not going to be seen as successful in the eyes of others. Well, why do you need that? Well, the only reason you could need that is because you feel inadequate and you want to prove to yourself and others that you are somebody special. What's driving you? What's creating the stress? You see, you get rid of the fears and the stress goes away. I would disagree with the person who thinks that some fear is a good thing, even those safety fears. You have to be aware. Being aware, being intelligent, being informed, that's good, but that's not related to fear. That's related to just being intelligent. Am I stressed? If you are, there's a fear. There's a problem. There's an ego issue going on. Are you annoyed? Do you get angry? Are you unhappy? Are you struggling all the time? All the negative stuff, all the negative feelings. Whatever it is, if it's a negative word, if it's something negative, that when you look at yourself, that goes to ego and belief, and you just need to want to get over it and have the intent to get over it. There's 1,000 problems out there that people have, but it all boils down to the same thing. And that's get rid of the fear, be authentic, live your life at the being level, and happiness just happens. And love is the answer. The love, the caring, compassion, that's the answer. Not act differently, but actually be differently. That would be a good intention for the new year, to start out a new year. This year, I'm just going to be who I am, the way I am, and see how that works.